All wings report in.
HouseDog, standing by.
MotherGoose, standing by.
Lowtech Tuck, standing by.
Lock S foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Animal Squadron podcast. I'm one of your hosts, HouseDog, and with me, as always, my sleepy, eepy little snookums, the one and only MotherGoose.
Hello, everybody.
And our Amish-looking other best friend, Lowtech Tuck.
Honest and handsome.
That's right.
I said Amish, not honest.
I'm taking honest though. I mean that's what I'm gonna take.
Me asking Elijah 5 minutes ago if he was sure that he was okay to record.
Listen,
our
I
honest
mishear
friend.
one thing. I mishear one thing.
Also, don't listen to Elijah. He's drunk. He's not tired. Actually,
He's
Yeah.
overdosed on heroin as well.
They finally pushed me to drink.
And do
27
heroin.
years of sobriety down the drain.
And he did heroin.
yeah. Let's just start that rumor
Yeah.
too. Yep.
Shot it up.
He
Right
never
up
has
the
tried
bum.
alcohol or drugs, but last night was the night. He just decided to go for it.
No, audience.
start with
if
heroin.
If you wanna know the truth, I was up late with my family watching the last act of Arcane, and yes, I am emotionally destroyed. There will be a Nerds Only episode about it soon.
See, that sounds like a good cover for someone who went to the bars and just got crazy.
Just started
Yeah.
putting them back.
Was the bar called Arcane? Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
That would be a really sick bar name, though. Let's
That
just
really
be
would.
honest.
That really
Was
would.
that
Honestly,
the name of the heroin that you were shooting up, buddy?
honestly, too, should we just do like what every man our age, like in a friend group, talks about? And like, should we buy a bar, boys? Should we just talk about that? Do it.
Dude, those barcades are honestly like some of the best times I've had.
Oh yeah,
Hell
dude. We
yeah.
have some up here. It's awesome.
It's
awesome.
kind of
Yeah.
dangerous, though, because you have a really good time.
I've totally had this shared experience with the boys.
Well, it's cool too, because like the barcade, like you could also just play games in there. You don't even have to drink.
Yeah, you
It's
don't
like-
have
yeah.
to drink.
It's like Chuck E. Cheese for adults.
For
It's
adults.
beautiful.
Well, it's like not
Hell
as
yeah.
is like Dave and Buster's, because like I don't like Dave and Buster's and stuff. I'd rather go to a barcade
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair.
They know
because
what's
they're
up.
usually like, I wouldn't say small. Like it kind of depends on which one you go to. Like some of them, they don't have the best machines. Like they'll have good like pinball machines and stuff, but not really good other games.
Yeah.
And then I've been to ones that are like 3 floors,
Yeah.
so it kind of
pretty
just
wild.
varies.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I went to one up here one time that they even have like an axe throwing thing. It was a barcade with an axe throwing thing, and also like there was like a mini golf in there. Like it was wild. I was like, this is
Listen.
insane.
Yeah.
And beautiful.
You can't just say things like that. I'm all for axe throwing, but is at a bar the safest place?
Yes.
I mean, you signed the release form. It's safe for the
Yeah, it's-
company anyway.
It's
Yeah,
your
they don't
fault.
care.
Yeah, that's all that matters. If you're
You're not
getting drunk,
liable.
spin around and throw an axe into the crowd instead of at the target, that's on you.
Oh my god.
Well, they like anytime they have one of those indoor axe throwing things, it's like a cage, and like a worker
Yeah.
stands there and watches you do it. So
Hell yeah.
you get to be an adult like halfway, but you have a person like standing there watching you,
You are carefully managed. for the
Gotcha.
axe
Okay.
throwing.
which
That
upsets
makes me feel a
great
little
deal.
better.
I don't like being micromanaged. Let me drink my alcohol and throw axes like a red-blooded American that I am. If you're gonna make me throw them in a cage, just go away. Just let me do it on my own.
You can come out of the cage when there's no more axes. Hey, are you guys ready to talk about Star Wars?
Yes.
Hell yeah. All right. It's the big dance.
That's right. The big dance. Let's get after it.
24 tournament Now, audience, before we get into it, the boys did request a secret bracket, so I will not be discussing it this year. You'll be finding it out the same time as they do. But before we get into it, I do still have our predictions for who we all thought would win this year.
All right.
I don't remember what I said, so this is all
neither.
new for me, baby.
Tucker, you predicted it was going to be Acolyte. Mac, you predicted it was going to be Tales of the Jedi. At the time, we knew there was going to be another Tales of. We did not know it was going to be Tales of the Empire, but I feel like that still applies.
What a terrible pick for me.
And
I
I
am
chose
trash.
Outlaws.
Oh, not as bad as that one, though.
So does that mean that I won as far as the predictions?
We'll see what happens. We'll see.
I think I had the best pick. I had the best
I would
pick.
say
I think.
out of the three of us, Tuck, yours is looking
Yeah,
the best.
for sure, for sure. So, round one is going to be Star Wars Hunters versus Tales of the Empire.
All right, who came up with this bracket? Who came up with this bracket?
I had to give him a chance.
Yeah, I'm picking Tales of the Empire for sure. I mean, Star Wars Hunters, I think I literally played like 20 minutes of it. And then I couldn't even record the episode with you guys anyway. So.
Oh,
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I think I played it like whenever it came out, and then I just never picked it up again. Also, too, I'm not a big mobile game guy. I've never really like had a mobile game just be like addictive really and like me like want to play it. So, I mean, I'll probably never play it again, but I played it for like 20 minutes. It was all right, but I got to pick Tales of the Empire. I think Tales of the Empire is much better. Much more compelling story.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like you would have had a better time if you played it on the Switch. It wasn't that much more impressive, but it was a better time.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, I would have maybe played like a day or two then with you guys, but then I would have dropped it still.
yeah.
I would go back to it, honestly. Like, if one of you guys texted me and was like, you want to play a couple matches, I'd probably go back to it.
Is
Yeah.
that because you
Would I
love
ever-
the game? Or is that because you want to just hang out with the boys?
It's because I love you.
This
I mean,
is
that
the
game is
way.
not that impressive.
Is
This is the way.
there any game that you would say no to playing with the boys?
Yeah, I'll never play Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith movie tie-in game with you.
But would you play it with Elijah?
Maybe.
And I know you'd play it with Josh because you are
I'd
in
do
love with
anything
him.
for Josh.
Yeah,
Suited
you are
bird
you are
glazer.
you are currently lusting after him.
You know those videos of those kids in Pakistan with that teacher lady?
Yeah, I want to be pilot. Yeah, that guy.
I want to grow up and be a pilot for Pakistan.
yeah.
Wow, that's really great.
Yeah. I love that video. Yeah,
You're that teacher for the suited bird?
Yeah,
and
Hell
just
yeah.
everything he does. Wow.
that's really great. Yeah, that's me.
I actually, the more I played Hunters, the more I enjoyed it. I stand by what I said in our review, that this should have been a full console release with some better graphics, a less mobile-esque store and microtransaction philosophy on their shop. I genuinely think this could have been a much better game than it was. Like, the gameplay loop is so solid, and all the heroes' abilities are really good. I think it just got screwed over by being a mobile game.
Yeah. Looking back at it now and thinking about the shop and how much of a difficult time we had, I think if I was playing it on a phone, the shop would have made a lot more sense to navigate. But like on a handheld like the Switch, and I was playing on a light, that shop was super difficult for me to navigate and understand. But if I was holding a phone and I just had to click on things, it would have been a lot easier.
Yeah, and it was the whole, again, the mobile-esque shop. There was like 5 different credits or money types within it, instead of just being something simple like Fortnite or Call of Duty with its COD points. You've got the one currency. You know how to do it. I'm not justifying those microtransactions either. I just think that's a much simpler system. But like I've said in other podcasts, after we reviewed it, I started playing this game with my nephews, and we played a good probably 20, 30 hours of this game, and it was solid. It was a really fun experience to have with them.
So what's your vote?
That's what I was gonna say. So I guess I got kind of lost here. So my pick was Tales of the Empire. What was your pick, Mac?
I mean,
where's the vote currently?
I kind of want to say Hunters just to rock the boat.
Just to be a contrarian? I like it.
But I know it's not going to make it through any of the later rounds, so I'll go with Tales of the Empire.
Well, before I give my vote, let's talk about Tales just a little bit.
Okay.
So this was Morgan Elsbeth and
Barasafi.
Thank you, guys. I genuinely really enjoyed Tales of the Empire this year. I still struggle with how I feel about it compared to Tales of the Jedi, but I still thought it was really solid.
Yeah, I really think that with Tales of the Empire, because Tales of the Jedi, the only reason that I would say that this is like a very like high quality sequel, but it's difficult to compare them as far as like which one's better. But one thing I liked about Tales of the Empire versus Tales of the Jedi is Tales of the Empire I feel like is a lot more consistent. Like both storylines were equally as good.
Yeah.
Whereas like Tales of the Jedi, there's a clear story
winner. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
You know, yeah, and so that's one thing I liked about Tales of the Empire, and also just with the use of flashbacks and stuff, like we got to see those characters' whole lives, which was really cool. And yeah, I mean, I like Tales of the Empire a lot. It's pretty solid. Yep.
And very excited for what we see in the future with Tales.
Yeah, I have no clue where they're going to go from here, but I can virtually guarantee it's going to be good. I mean, because Tales of the Jedi too, like the Ahsoka storyline, which is what I was talking about, is, you know, not as good as the Dooku one. I think
not even close.
I think that's a fair thing to say, but it's still good. Like it's still it's still worth watching. You know?
Out of the four Tales arcs, I feel like Ahsoka's definitely dead last, and I feel like Barasafi and Morgan Elsbeth are a very solid 2 and 3.
Yeah, and then also whether they are 2 or 3, like between the two, I think you could flip them. I mean, I think sometimes Barris might be 3, sometimes she might be 2.
Yeah,
like depending on when I'm watching it and things like that.
One of my favorite bits, we actually talked about this last week, was just the extra lore we got for the TIE Defenders that Morgan Elsbeth was working on it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Well, if we are ready to move on, I am also going to vote for Tales. I also considered voting for Hunters, especially when Max said he was going to vote for Hunters. I was like, do we push Hunters to the semifinals?
I mean, I guess you always have to have a Cinderella team. I get it. If that's what you guys had done, that would have been okay. But
no, I think Tales of the Empire definitely deserves to move forward.
I would have preferred, instead of Tales of the Empire, I would have preferred a Tales of the Sith, and give me Grievous's background story finally in canon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
like a full fleshed out story. Him, it would have been cool to have seen Palpatine's story.
Oh,
that would be cool. Yeah,
like his early years growing up as a young man on Naboo, him murdering his family.
Mm-hmm. And also too, like he and Plagueis running around on their early adventures and stuff. Like that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm. You know, they got to dangle it in front of us. They know that everybody wants that, so they've got their little keys. They're jangling as they're walking further away from us.
And they're walking right to the bank because they know that we're just like, money, do it, please.
Please.
jingle the keys more, please.
Please. Okay, our next pairing is going to be Star Wars Outlaws versus Lego Rebuild the Galaxy.
Well, I know my vote.
I know my vote. And I feel like Tucker's going to be the deciding factor.
Yeah, no, this is tough for me.
Well, what if we have me and Mac each give our takes on it, maybe help you think about it.
Well, but see, the problem is that like I already know you guys have made your decisions, so therefore you're biased.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Tech, how about you start us off? How are you feeling?
It's just
Maybe you can sway one of us.
It's a tough choice because so a couple of things. On one hand, Outlaws, I really think is, I'm so sorry, Mac, but it's a more important story. Like, I think it's more important to the grand scheme of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
And also because it's, at least like the newer video games and stuff, they're somewhat canon, you know, at the very least semi-canon.
No.
Whereas Lego's not.
You're wrong.
And I just, that makes me want to lean Outlaws. However, Outlaws really on launch, for me anyway, kind of shot itself in the foot just because I had such extreme issues playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And Rebuild the Galaxy, I didn't really have any frustrations at all. It was just a good time because it's a Lego special.
Yeah.
Sounds like you know which way you should vote then.
But it's like, this is really like, so just to use a metaphor from like, March Madness, like the real big dance, like last round was kind of like number 1 versus a number 16 seed, like how the tournament actually goes. But then this is like a 2 versus 3. Like it's really hard. It's a tough game. It's probably gonna go to overtime. And it's just gonna be a nail biter. And that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling a little nervous.
This is the way.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys talk about it. I'll make my decision at the end. I'll be the last one. I'll be the last one.
You save your vote.
I'll be the last
Gotta
one.
keep
This
the
is
audience and us
This is
waiting.
too hard. This is too hard.
It's not. It's quite easy, in fact.
Milky, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, finally. So, Outlaws was the biggest disappointment of the year. Easily. As a Star Wars fan, this game was disappointing.
But is that the story's fault or is that Ubisoft's fault?
Oh, I don't care who takes the blame, but it's somebody's.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying I would blame Ubisoft, not necessarily Outlaws. You know what I mean? Like the problems were because of poor planning and money grabbing and stuff like that, not because the game sucks. You know what I mean?
Game kind of suck.
Like I'm more inclined to blame the company than the actual Star Wars project itself.
Game kind of suck.
Hey, why don't you talk about why you love Rebuild the Galaxy, though?
Well, no, I just felt like Outlaws was kind of a letdown because it wasn't... I don't think it was what was being marketed. I don't think what was marketed to us from the beginning was what we got. At all.
That's fair.
That could be a me problem, though. I didn't think I was going to go in there playing Star Wars Skyrim. I knew it was going to be a loose RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had to follow, like, the character's story, right? I mean, there was some decision making, but I'll leave Outlaws with this. Has anybody picked it up again?
No, but that's because I'm poor. If I had the money to buy it or keep paying for Ubisoft Plus, I totally would.
Also, too, for me, I'm waiting. Like, I mean, I am gonna play it, and I do want to play it all the way through sometime. But I was just waiting a little while. Also, I am also poor, so it's like, I was like, well, like maybe I'll just wait until they fix a lot of the issues. Mm-hmm. But like Battlefront 2 though, like the new Battlefront 2, that process may take a year or two to fix, but I'm willing to play it again. But I'm just waiting.
Well, Rebuild the Galaxy was ready from the start. You could watch it as soon as it was there, Every episode is great. All the characters are great. They listened to the fans, gave us stuff we wanted. Darth Jar Jar, Black Millennium Falcon, great story, hilarious jokes, and they teased another season at the end of it. Do I think there's ever going to be Star Wars Outlaws 2? God, I hope not.
But also, too, like, I was going to say, it seems like your pick is more based on the production value. Like, what do the stories mean to you?
This story's better.
Can you tell me why?
Yeah, because it's better.
You're making me lean Outlaws right now, dude.
That's fine. You can be wrong.
Well, I'll go ahead and jump from here if that's okay, Milky.
Yeah, go ahead. Just don't be wrong. Make your choice wisely.
I did not really enjoy Rebuild the Galaxy, and
I didn't really enjoy you right now.
At the time,
Forever.
I even said it. I was like, maybe I'm too old for Lego specials, and that was not the case. If you go back and listen to that, Rebuild the Galaxy versus Terrifying Tales, I was way more excited about Terrifying Tales. While I think I agree there was some really cool stuff like Darth Jar Jar, I just felt like Lego Rebuild the Galaxy was more just, like, I didn't necessarily enjoy the story. It was just more of like jumping from stuff to stuff. Like, what if Jar Jar was a Sith? What if C-3PO was a bounty hunter? Just like jingle, jangle, jingle. Here's a new thing. Jingle, jangle, jingle.
Was it more like fan service? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I got
it. It was a story about a young man becoming a hero in his own life, losing everything that he thought was important to him, and overcoming all odds to continue a new life while remembering the past but not living in it to continue into a bright new future.
So it was literally just a Star Wars story, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, so it sounds like they did what they were supposed to do and gave us something good.
But Outlaws is every bit of that, too. I mean, as far as the stories, they're very similar.
I'm so glad. I was going to repeat word for word what you said about Outlaws.
No.
I genuinely really did enjoy Outlaws, though. I thought it was fun. I disagree on the marketing thing, if I'm being 100% honest. It was definitely, I think the problem for us all is that it was a stealth game, and that most of us aren't the biggest fan of stealth games. But it was definitely marketed as a stealth game. But that being said, I still really enjoyed it. I thought the story was really compelling. The little pet thing, whose name that I can't remember, was adorable, and I would die for it.
Nix,
thank you. I don't care if I would never get to see it in real life. I would still die for that thing. And yes, the fact that it was pretty much unplayable for you was awful, Tukey, and I'm so sorry.
Tragedy.
But they actually just put out a major patch like within the last week where they went and changed not only was it to fix issues, but they changed a lot of stuff. Like now the forced stealth sections, almost all of them they've taken out. So the stealth is just optional. Your secondary weapon that you pick up, you no longer drop when you go up ladders or jump on your speeder. So just a lot of little quality of life issues they went and fixed and changed, and I'm really looking forward to go back and playing it again now that they have made these changes.
So have they made the changes well enough where you would recommend me moving up my timetable? Instead of waiting another 6 months, maybe I should pick it up in a month or two? You think they're fixing it that well?
I can't say for sure because I haven't played it. I've only read the patch notes. The patch notes look really, really good, but I can't say for sure without actually having played it.
I got you.
But yeah, I'm definitely voting Outlaws.
Okay.
Tukey?
Oh.
Hurt me, Tuck. Hurt me good.
I'm sorry.
Hurt me. Hurt me good. Come on.
I'm trying to be unbiased here, but it's just hard for me to pick something that's not canon and never will be, and was not purpose built to be canon. Like, it was purpose built to be funny, which I appreciate.
That's what's beautiful about it.
I appreciate
it just exists.
But that's why this is such a metaphorically good game. That's why this is so like difficult. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do everything based on my experience with both projects, and I'm gonna have to go with Rebuild the Galaxy. That's
fair.
Yep. But also, to clarify, I'm picking that because I feel forced to.
Wait,
Like,
what?
just for the record.
No, make your actual pick. You don't have to pick Rebuild the Galaxy.
Well, no. It has to do with like my personal experience with both of them. So that's why I'm saying I feel forced to pick Rebuild the Galaxy because my experience with Outlaws was so bad.
No, and I think that's a really valid thought process.
Yeah. I was just like, I'm just trying to take all feeling out of it. I'm just picking Rebuild the Galaxy. I just think that's.
I don't know. I might
right
go
choice
back
for
and
me.
revisit it now.
Outlaws?
Yeah, now that you said that things got fixed. But I think the thing that I spent the most time in that game doing, besides trying to figure out where to go on the map, was play Sabak. I played so much Sabak.
I didn't even bring up Sabak, but hell yeah, it was so fun.
I wish I could have gotten in the building to play Sabak instead of falling through the map every 5 seconds.
Well, let me tell you, it's a great game.
Going and picking based on your personal experience, I think is a really good way to pick it. Because, I don't know, if you couldn't even play the game, makes sense that you wouldn't want to pick it.
You know what you could enjoy as soon as it came out? Rebuild the Galaxy.
Star Wars Hunters.
And that's the metaphorical last second 3 to win the game. Is that I happen to enjoy Rebuild the Galaxy more because I can actually watch it.
That's
Because
it.
you
We're
could
going back
actually
to round
enjoy it.
1,
Hell yeah.
and we're pushing Hunters through. This is the year of the upsets, baby.
Is that our Cinderella team?
Yeah, we're going back and changing our minds.
I mean, sorry, it's the autism. Is this a joke, or are we seriously going back and changing it?
No, it was a
he's
joke.
kidding.
It was a
He's
joke.
kidding.
It was a joke.
I just had to double check. Okay.
I mean, unless.
Also, though, I love your loyalty that you were willing to do that. You're a good friend, Elijah.
Part of the team, part of the ship, part of the crew.
That's
right.
All right, we're on to our round 2, our semi-finals. You guys, I've got another actual matchup for us, or we could go and just do our round 1 winners first.
Let's go with
Tuck.
actual matchup.
Yeah.
All right.
Tuck's the only one that knows how brackets actually work.
Yeah, because here's the thing is,
Everybody plays their game 1, right? And then you go into the second part of the bracket.
right, but then what Elijah does, which is also something that happens in real life, like usually like a couple number 1 seeds will get a first game bye, so they're just automatically in the second round of the tournament because they were so good.
Yeah, we didn't have enough content to have a full even round 1. So I had to bump 2 things up to round 2.
We could have just made up Star Wars stuff. We could have put my fan fiction in there. I think my fan fiction deserves a spot in this bracket.
Do you have a title for it? Or is it still
No.
just work? Or is it still just Max working title?
Yeah, max working title. It may never change either.
Just release it like that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I think it really pays homage to what the project is.
You know what?
Hell
I
yeah.
think that would win the tournament if it was in there. Maybe that's why Elijah kept it out, because it would just be unfair.
Oh, it's just a ringer?
It would just
a
be
ringer.
unfair. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And I specifically, this last matchup that I'm about to bring up, I put against each other because I genuinely felt like each of these had a chance of winning. So I wanted to get that match out first, and that way maybe we could have a surprise winner later on.
I like it.
Star Wars Hunters coming back.
It's going
I
to
like
be
it.
Acolyte versus Bad Batch season 3.
Wow.
This is
the
one.
hard one.
Yeah,
That's a good one. Wow. Dude, Elijah, that's a great, that perfect first round
Thank you.
buy. Perfect
I think
execution.
the
That was
like
awesome.
most important thing about this pick that we have to remember though is it's not Bad Batch as a whole. It's just the last season
3.
of Bad Batch, which is going to be really
Right.
hard for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I think we can look at it. It is season 3, but it is a conclusion to the story. So considering that aspect, I think is okay. But we definitely can't, rank season 1 and season 2 in with it.
Yeah. It's got to be season 3 standing on its own legs, which is kind of, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, but there is some retroactiveness that goes into it a little bit. I mean, just because being a continuation of the story, there has to be an earlier story to continue. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm not saying we need to count it all as a whole, but it's like, there's some stuff that gets cleaned up in season 3 that could only get cleaned up if there was something to clean up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
For sure. And I mean, we've got the end of one series, and even though the Acolyte got canceled, it was intended to be the beginning of another.
2 series that are over.
Dude, the final season for 2 series.
Well, I mean,
you know what would have been wild is if they had released it and just called it Acolyte the final season. That would have been wild.
Yeah.
We've got kind of a beautiful dichotomy here. We had a show that came to its beautiful end, and a show that was just beginning that also came to its end. So we got the whole yin and yang thing going.
You
Yeah,
got the Anakin treatment.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Got the Anakin treatment. Oh, yep. It asked him. There was too many of them. What are we gonna do? And yep, that's what happened.
Yeah.
I'll make this one easy.
Yeah, so I'll talk about Acolyte. This, I think, was a surprise pick for a lot of us. I mean, Tucker, before we really started getting marketing, I mean, this was your 2024 prediction, but I definitely went in very negative. I did not think I was going to enjoy it, and it ended up becoming probably one of my favorite Star Wars series ever.
Yeah. Well, and also too, if I can jump in real quick, I also, and you guys remember this, I watched it. I watched the first 20 minutes before you guys did, and I sent y'all a paragraph of how much I hated it. I wrote a hate paragraph in our group text because the first 20 minutes I just really felt were so horrible. But this show made me truly eat my words. I mean, this show is actually really, really good.
Yeah.
It's just the first 20 minutes, like any pilot, they had some early kind of weird things going on, but they fixed it. You can almost see the part in the first episode where they fix it.
The quality changes. Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. But yeah, no, I just I want to mirror what you said, where it's just I came into it really negative, but it ended up really being a show that I will return to several times and that I genuinely enjoyed.
Yeah.
Well, you know what kind of makes me wonder about that extreme change in that first episode between the first half and the second half is if they but if they were doing test screenings of that first episode and the original second half of that episode was different than what we got in the end.
Yeah.
Because they were okay, we can't scrap the whole episode, but if we keep the first half and just kind of change the second half so it flows better and there's a better story, maybe we can save it.
Well, and also that would make sense because this one, if I remember correctly, was late by a couple months. I think they delayed it at least once.
Yeah, I believe so.
And I wonder if that's part of why. If they were all right, let's just get a couple more months. Let's, fix some stuff we have going on, and just because we don't feel like we can release this.
Yeah.
And if that's what happened, I'm very glad they did.
it was just an idea that I had in my little brain that I thought I would share.
Yeah, for sure.
And also too, like I went in too with like, and I think this, you know, affects everyone with a project like this. Like I also went into it too, like biased just because like I was only hearing just really negative stuff from the naysayers pretty much. The ring of Star Wars fans out there that just hate everything that's new.
Yeah.
You know, I was
new bad. Old good, new bad.
Yeah, I was listening to those people, and I think that really affected me. Again, I mean, I really, after seeing the show as a whole, I think pretty much every single one of those complaints was unfounded and was wrong for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of
agree.
like Andor for me. Like, I didn't want to watch Andor at all because I'm not the biggest fan of Rogue One.
Right.
And now, I think it's from like episode 4 on in Andor. Like, that's, for me, that's when the series took off. And I would gladly rewatch that series now.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of my favorite Star Wars series because I really enjoy the storyline, what they were doing with everything. And I didn't really care that, okay, none of these characters are going to really become anything. I mean, some of them might live on to do other things, but like, we all know what happens to Andor. Like, he's not around for much longer here. But that didn't really matter. I was just kind of enjoying the story and definitely excited for season 2. So
Yeah.
But just kind of to go off your point of how you can't get, even if it's other people or just your own personal feelings, like you should always just give something a chance and you might be surprised.
I agree.
And I was very surprised.
And can we talk about that episode 5 lightsaber fight? So peak.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then also too, just I'm already forgetting his name. The master, the bad guy.
Soul. Papa Soul.
No, the master, like the bad guy. The
He's talking about
guy.
Darth Teefs.
The stranger.
But I don't remember his name.
Come here. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
there it
I
is.
mean, yeah, like that whole episode, I think it's Night, right? Isn't that the one? Where he like takes on literally like a dozen Jedi and just murks them. Just destroys all of them. Like, that was really cool. Like, that was some of the best Star Wars fighting I've seen in a long time.
Nothing will beat that scene where he's just like floating down from the top of the shot to the bottom out of the woods. That's honestly like one of my new favorite shots in all of Star Wars. And I said it whenever we reviewed that episode, but dude, I want a Star Wars, not necessarily like horror, but like thriller so bad. Like, I think there's such a good market for it, and there's so many characters that they could bring back or make new characters. It doesn't matter, but I really want them to do like a dark, gritty, I don't care if it's a 5-episode season of whatever, but it really needs to happen because that shot was just incredible. How it's like, I think it's like dead silent, but he's barely in the background. He's kind of fuzzy, but you're just seeing like him floating down, and it's like one of the most menacing shots.
Yeah. And also too, that is one thing, like, off that point, is I like how Acolyte sort of leans that way. Like, it is pretty gritty and pretty like just the idea of a Star Wars whodunit. I didn't know it was something that I wanted, but it's something I wanted. Like, it's something that was really cool. Yeah. And I would love it if they did like an actual, like, you know, even a little bit more dark version of it, like or even more of a thriller would be very cool. Yeah.
I agree, and just all the little details that they threw in to like foreshadow the eventual fall of the Jedi. It was just so good.
Yeah.
Well, Bad Batch season 3 finale. Echo's dead. Echo didn't come back. Not Echo. Tech's dead. Echo died and then came back. Tech died and didn't come back.
Yeah.
That's
also,
right.
Echo had, possibly the sickest pun of all time. Whenever he steals that droid's hand, he's like, "Thanks for the hand."
Hell yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's like the last episode.
that's dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've already made my choice, gentlemen, so you can talk about whatever you'd like.
Hey, I feel like Bad Batch still deserves its due.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying
So
it doesn't.
what? So with Bad Batch, like I guess what are some negatives then about it? Like, what are your negatives, Mac? I just want to know.
For season 3, and I said it whenever we got, I think, to the final episode, we kind of just gave our final thoughts on that season.
Mm-hmm.
Season 3 for me, I felt like at times we would get episodes that were really good, that were really moving the show forward, and then we would kind of get episodes that didn't really do much. And for me, a final season of a show, I'm not saying every minute has to be action-packed, high stakes at every corner. But this is presumably the last time we're going to see most of these characters, if not all. The only character I could really see them doing anything with after this project ending would be
Omega.
Omega. That's really the only character I could see them doing anything with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
and honestly too, I seem to remember us talking about how like we think that season 3 would have been better if they had done like 6 or 7 really solid 40-minute episodes instead of like 12 25-minute episodes with some filler.
Yeah.
in it. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I would have
would've-
been more happy for that.
Yeah, it would have been better for it to have been I mean like even if it was shorter, but just keep it to the important plot points.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I think I agree with you that I would have been happier with it.
Yeah.
I think
If
kind
there
of
was
any
less
time we
filler.
spent away from the Tantus storyline,
Yeah, was kind of
Didn't-
filler. Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of for me. That's just my opinion because we now are in season 3 of a story, and I understand they had to do a lot of story and world building because this was really like one of the first big steps into filling the gap of what happened after Order 66 to really those like early days of the Empire. Sure, we've had other like media and everything that's tried to fill in those gaps, but I really feel like this is the only one that is taking it right from the end of Clone Wars, right when Order 66 happened.
Yeah.
You know, like the moment that happens. So, okay, well, what does day 1 of the reign of the Empire look like?
Yeah.
This is what was going on.
Yeah, because even
But
like
we're only talking about season 3 here, so
yeah, because even like Obi-Wan and the Jedi games, they're even a couple years after. So like that is an
Yeah.
interesting thought that this really explored that question and did it well. But I think just pretty much the only negative I can say is that I sort of wish that it had been just less filler, just more,
Yeah.
just straight.
yeah, because I felt
Straight
like this
gas.
season,
Yeah.
I felt like this third season, they were finally giving us the answers to questions, that was coming from like Mando and the other like live action shows that they were doing with how does the Emperor come back. And we were starting to get those answers, and I was like, yes, finally, this season is all going to be about cloning, why they were capturing Jedi, and, Grogu, and secret military labs, which I really like, kind of like that World War II Nazi type deal that like Hitler was doing with like the occult, and now he was like, obviously they were terrible things he was doing, but it's interesting.
It's
you know.
a inspiration for what Palpatine's doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
like, it's directly like that's why they have the Empire doing that stuff, is it's based on those
Yeah.
historical
Yeah.
Hitler's
Yes.
weird obsession with the occult and like trying to find greater power and like living forever and like experiments that he was doing, like
Yeah.
And I was like, finally we're gonna get all this stuff in Bad Batch season 3, and then we would get a little bit, and then we would be whisked away to some nonsense planet for an episode where we would get like really good character building and those like really beautiful moments between characters, but we wouldn't give anything to this is the final season. Why are we not on Tantus right now?
Yeah. Now, I do think that Bad Batch is at a little bit of a disadvantage here just because it was like the first thing that came out this year in terms of Star Wars content. So it's the furthest from our mind. Like, I literally just had to go back and look through the episodes to remind myself like where the season started and kind of just some things that happened. But I really did enjoy the Bad Batch season 3. Is it as much of an amazing series finale as I was hoping it would be? No, just being honest. But I still really enjoyed it. There were some really cool scenes, like the trying to find out about these like secret shadow clone troopers that have lost their will, and how that ended up being a fight between the Bad Batch and them at the end. While we didn't get as much about Project Necromancy as I was hoping, we still got some more tidbits here or there to hold us on. Jingle jangle, their keys. And I enjoyed some of the filler episodes, like the Asajj Ventress episode I thought was really solid. The whole, like, does Omega have the Force, does she not storyline I thought was interesting. And our boys gotta live. We got a happy ending, mostly. And they just gotta save Omega, and they gotta go to their island and live a good life. And I mean, that's solid. That's so solid to me.
Even though they're all gonna die, Elijah was doing his thing whenever it first came out.
Yeah, I had to emotionally prepare myself that they were all gonna die because we never see them later.
Yeah.
But they gotta just live a good life. And we don't really get to see that often in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, but...
But, yeah, I'm ready to vote if you guys are.
Yeah.
I think I am.
I mean, I have to go with the Acolyte. And
Me too.
I would have never picked that.
No, and I know it's surprising to me. It's very surprising to me. But really, the only reason I say that is that I feel like the Acolyte was more on task.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it was more of just hitting the accelerator without pumping the brakes. Like, it was a lot more of what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, too, it was, again, like I said, it was the show I didn't even know I wanted until I watched it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think it was better than Bad Batch Season 3. And, yeah, I mean, it's just it's a fair win. I think it's just the better
I
option.
think this was like the best matchup that we could have, though.
Oh,
Season 1 of a new show versus Season 3 of a show that we've been enjoying for years coming to its end.
Yeah, well, and
a good matchup here.
And I even feel like that if these were sports teams, that I would be a Bad Batch fan. But it's just one of those games that we just got beat by a better team. I mean, we just did.
Yeah.
We just did. I just feel like that.
Yeah, you know? And this one was a really hard choice for me, just being honest, because I really did enjoy Season 3 of Bad Batch, but I agree, Acolyte was just a better show, a better season at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our next matchup is going to be our round 1 winners. As a reminder, that's Tales of the Empire versus Rebuild the Galaxy.
I'm picking Tales. I mean, that's... Yeah.
Just continue on. I know it's not gonna make it.
Oh, listen, we've already kind of talked about each series a little bit, so we don't have to go in depth, but we should still talk about this matchup a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and so as far as why I'm picking Tails is, so now, you know, we have the advantage of my experience with both was the same. Whereas it was ready on launch, I watched it, I enjoyed it. And so now pretty much I can just think about the stories and which one I think is more important. And I just, like, Tales is just, it's a more compelling story. It's actually canon. We got, you know, new stuff about characters and like characters developed and things like that. Whereas Rebuild the Galaxy, I love it, but it's a Star Wars comedy, and that's what it's made for. It does a very good job of that, but I just think that Tales of the Empire does a better job of building Star Wars as a whole. Is what I'm saying. Yeah,
Milky?
Hurts my heart, but
Everyone knows my opinion. We might as well just go to the next round.
Mac's he's going down swinging. Do
Mac,
it.
fight for it. Convince me.
There's nothing to fight for. There's not.
Is
Wow.
this just your is this your favorite, like your team that was like a plucky little team and you just love them for their personality, but
Yeah, but you know it's not gonna win. You know, going into week 2, they're just getting absolutely destroyed. Like they come out and everybody in the stands are like excited and rooting for them, but in their hearts, they know they're just gonna get absolutely obliterated.
yeah, that's fair.
Well, fine. If you won't, I'll talk about Rebuild the Galaxy.
It's like if you took a team of like younglings
Yep.
and you threw them on the court with one Anakin Skywalker.
And instead of basketballs, they had lightsabers.
And then also instead of a court, it's the Jedi Temple during specifically Operation Nightfall.
While I know I wasn't the biggest fan of Rebuild the Galaxy, to give it some credit, a couple things I really enjoyed were like the animation. Some of those, like the fight scene between the two brothers was so sick at the end, and like the explosions I thought were really good. And while I know I said I wouldn't have picked it for its jingle jangle nature of now this is different. Some of those matchups or some of those like what if scenarios were really cool, like Darth Jar Jar, the evil Millennium Falcon.
Good guy Palpatine.
Yep, good guy Palpatine, good guy Jabba the Hutt. But I also loved a lot of the like mashup of things, like Admiral Akbar clones instead of Jango Fett clones.
Greedo having the slave ship
Yep.
Han
The Ewok
being a
bounty
bad
hunters.
guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
and a loser.
Yeah. You said it, not me. But yeah.
The Ewok bounty hunters with their X-Wings. And how
Yeah.
their only lines are just screaming. And I thought
It's
that
okay,
was cool.
guys. Just let it die, all right? Just let
Listen.
it die. Send it to its grave. Let it die, damn it.
Everything deserves its due diligence. Is the team going to lose? Sure, but they still deserve to play.
That's beautiful.
It made it this far.
It did. Yep.
It
they
wants
had a really
to die
good
in the
season.
ring. It's like Rocky, okay? It just wants to die in the ring.
Didn't Rocky come back and win, though?
Yeah, I guess it's more like Apollo Creed dying in the ring. He just wants to have one more fight.
Well, but yeah, I do have to go Tails. It was just really solid. Again, while it wasn't as good as the Dooku episodes, they were still really solid, and I
it's
really
close.
loved. Yeah, I really loved what we got with Tales of the Empire this year.
Yep.
So sorry.
So
sorry, Lego fans.
Let it die.
So the question is, though, are you still voting for
Yeah,
Lego?
100%.
Hell
100%.
He
That's
knows.
what I
I'm
like
not
to
to be
see.
swayed.
He knows where his loyalty lies. I like
Yeah.
that.
Hell yeah.
I respect it.
I'm
Max
not
stands
gonna
on
just switch
principle.
up. Yeah.
He's got 10 toes down. He knows what's up.
This will probably be a little bit of a consolation prize, at least. Milky, your 2024 pick is making it to the finals.
Is it the final round now?
Yeah, moving to finals. We have Acolyte versus Tales of the Empire.
Yeah, I don't think this is a game that's I think both teams are going in knowing who's taking home the gold ball, baby.
Listen, I really love, though, the fact that this was both of your 2024 predictions.
Was it?
Absolute, no matter who wins, could be anybody. absolute solid picks from you guys.
Is this who we said would wind up in the final?
Yeah, you said Tails and I said Acolyte for who would
Yeah.
win. Yeah.
Look at that, man. We just say things and never know what's going to happen.
Look at that.
That just proves to the viewers that while Elijah runs the show, Tuck and I are just here for the ride. Everything is new every week for us.
Well, I mean, we give our real opinion. I mean, I will say,
Yeah.
like, I am being honest, but do I remember what I said a year ago? No.
Yeah, Tucker, I think you made your prediction in either January or February. And Milky, you made yours whenever you got home and got back on the show.
Oh.
I think it was like one of the first things I made you do.
It's like this summer at some point.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
But yeah, Acolyte versus Tales of the Empire. This is another matchup that is going to be hard, and I really enjoy both of these series.
It's pretty easy for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, I'll just break the ice. I pick Acolyte, but Tales of the Empire was so good. So good. Like, for instance, I remember there's things in Tales of the Empire that'll just always sit with me. Like, for instance, like the Morgan episode with Grievous. And he kills her mom, and then she's telling her to run, and then Grievous just mockingly goes like, "Run!" and just starts laughing at her. Like, that was so scary. That was terrifying.
Yeah.
And I was just a viewer watching an animated show. Like, and it made me feel things like that.
Pete Grievous.
And
honestly.
also, too, like, you know, the panic at the end of, like, Barris's episode when her friend, well, the person who was her friend, you know, like, kills her and then, like, regrets it, and you see the pain in her eyes. And, like, Barris gets her final revenge. Like, I teared up a little at an animated show because it was that good. But reasons I'm picking Acolyte is I just think that story as a whole, I think, is more important to Star Wars as a whole, only because Morgan and Barris are cool characters, but they are side characters that also don't have a large part to play in the grand scheme of the galaxy. Whereas the Jedi, even though it's not necessarily these particular Jedi, why the Jedi failed and what all happened, and, like, you know, reasons why the Jedi were just slowly declining for hundreds of years, and answering all those questions, and also seeing, like, Plagueis and understanding that there really is a big bad out there, even that early in the game and stuff like that. I just think it's more important.
And they're both dead.
Than Tails. What?
And they're both dead.
They're both dead.
Yeah, Barris died in that episode, and Morgan just died in Ahsoka.
Oh, yeah.
Did Barris die?
Yeah, because her the one that was her friend that became an Inquisitor.
Oh, yeah.
That's how Barris gets her revenge. She does it basically like
By being a better person.
Yeah, she does it Alexander Hamilton style by you know.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm also going to go Acolyte. This is another really hard matchup for me. I love Tales of the Empire. I may even enjoy it more than Tales of the Jedi as a whole.
That's fair.
But Acolyte's just, it's so solid. It's so good.
Yeah.
Man, and like Soul, like his whole storyline of just wanting to do the right thing, and he just kept messing up. And Vern as a villain was so good. Just like, again, in her mind, she was absolutely doing the right thing, but she was absolutely not doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that she's like part of what's wrong with the Jedi and all. Yeah.
The perfect example of why the Jedi fail.
From a certain point of view.
Yeah, mine.
But from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Exactly. I was making a Ben reference, but...
But yeah, I love both these series. I genuinely think both of them deserve to be in the finale here today.
I do too.
But
I disagree. There's a team that started out in the beginning that worked hard to be here. They're at home right now.
No, they're in the stands. They're in the stands. They're watching.
They're watching.
No,
They're
they
cheering.
were too poor to stay for their whole tournament. If they would have won, they could have stayed.
They were trying to win it this year for Jedi Bob's mom, who's sick. They
With
lost
cancer.
it, and it's your fault.
And it's your fault that she's gonna die.
This is purely hypothetical. If Rebuild the Galaxy had made it to the finale, do you think you would have voted for it here? Or would you have stuck with
Out of
Acolyte?
spite, yes, but realistically, no.
I just had to know. But yeah, I mean, do you have any thoughts on our 2 finalists, Mac?
No, I would have preferred Tales of the Sith. Either that, or if we were gonna do Empire, like I said, the characters I mentioned before, they were just. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy them or there wasn't good content within this show, but it wasn't what I was hoping for as a fan. There were good episodes, there were good storylines, but just wasn't my flavor.
That's fair. All right. Well, our 2024 winner, Acolyte.
Who would have predicted this?
I never thought that I would say. Oh, actually, no. I guess I did think
Actually,
that a year ago.
Tucker did. Tucker did predict it.
But upon seeing the first 20 minutes of Acolyte, anyway, I never would have said that. I mean, I would have definitely taken that back. But
I wouldn't have picked it either.
yeah,
This has been a weird year for
amazing.
Star Wars.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it really. That's exactly
a really
right. It has
good
been
year
weird.
for Star Wars, but a weird one.
Yeah.
solid, but weird.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, we ate this year for sure.
Pretty
Like,
good.
I mean, because I can't think of a single project that I would say was just horrible. Like as far as like concept and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, like there was every single one of those projects had merit, like had things going for it.
Yeah.
I feel like Hunters was more of just like kind of like we didn't have enough, to host like a full tournament, so we called this random school and was like, listen, we understand you don't have the money to come play in this tournament, but we'll pay for you to be here just so we can run it.
Real.
That's fair. Here I was being nice, but
Well, audience, I know this year, or 2023 this year specifically, we did our tournament and then we immediately turned around and did our 2024 looking forward, where we kind of talked about upcoming shows, our predictions, like predictions specifically, what we thought those shows were going to be about, blah, 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 whatever, and then our actual like predictions who we thought would win. We are going to wait a little bit on that just because at the moment we don't have a really clear view on what 2025 is going to look like. But that episode will definitely still coming, just sometime in the future.
yeah.
Well, Skeleton Crew comes out what?
Here in
Next month?
yeah,
Next month.
which
and it'll-
Skeleton Crew, we're getting 4 episodes this year, 4 episodes next year, so it'll definitely be a next year's bracket.
Yeah. Sad, but I've been good. There are teasers out there, and I've stayed away from them.
What a guy.
I've watched them all.
I'm doing a tuck. I've got to
Hell
put
yeah.
the crack pipe down at some point.
Yep, you got to.
Yeah, you do.
For you got to do it.
And Elijah just picked it up, so
I'll never put down that crack pipe.
you heard it here first.
I don't even think I would know how to use a crack pipe, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
What-
that's
and
what
also you're
crack
saying that
addict
like
would say.
like what? Like Mac and I would? Is that you
Yeah.
trying to say that we know how, Elijah?
Yeah.
That's not very nice.
Take it back and vote for Rebuild the Galaxy right now.
All right, I'm taking it back, and I'm voting for Hunters.
It was Elijah's dark horse.
Oh, man. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. If you could leave us a review wherever you're listening, that would be awesome. And if you can leave a comment, let us know what your 2024 favorite Star Wars project was. And if you want to be a part of this conversation, you can email questions, comments, whatever, to animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that's animalsquadron@gmail.com. And we will see you in the next one. For the Animal Squadron, this has been MotherGoose.
HouseDog.
Lowtech Tug.
Goodbye, everybody.
Adios.
Now it's time to take a moment for Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. Everyone, please silence your cell phones. Stand with your hands over your hearts. And remember who should have won this year. Thank you. Goodbye.